gigs is a political conscience. However, it's Bono's life away from the band and his role as a global campaigner on third world development that's threatened to overshadow U2's musical message.
I really don't like people who say there's no place for politics in rock, because it suggests there's a rule book. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, there's a place for incest in rock, there's a place for anything in rock, and some great records and great things have come out of political rock. And I think one of the things I do like about U2 is their involvement. I think it starts to get a bit creepy when Bono believes that he can be a force for change with George Bush.
What Bono does is probably the most instrumental thing in people not liking U2.
Do you think people can separate campaigner Bono and rock star Bono?
Well, I think, you know, the band were certainly nervous that they wouldn't be able to do that and that I'd sink the ship. But it didn't happen, you know, and our audience is smart. They kind of get it. And they know that this has always been a part of our music.
There's no disagreement about what Bono does in his extracurricular activity. However, there are moments where it's just a little uncomfortable, and I think it's uncomfortable for him as well.
And it's not he's schmoozing with leaders. I mean, the thing is, you meet political leaders and you like some of them and you don't like some of them. You know, they're good guys. They happen to be fucking up or they happen to be really good at their job. It's kind of academic. You know, you're not going to be their best mate.
I think he would admit that the doors are open because he is not just an individual, but he kind of has people's ear because of his music. You know, if he was just some guy off the street, I don't think he would have had the opportunity in the first place. What he's done with that opportunity, though, is pretty extraordinary.
Larry, what do you think?
It's complicated, you know, and within the band there, you know, one thing we always agree on, generally speaking, is the music. But for 30 years we've disagreed about nearly everything else.
People can think that when they see Bono crapping on, that this is an extension, that he's, you know, he's up his own arse, he's seriously deluded, this kid.
Africa makes a fool of our idea of justice. It makes a farce of our idea of equality.
Because he has to repeat what seem like pieties, people go, oh, spare me, and expressions become cliches because you've had to repeat them so often to get to that incremental advance.
I just think on a personal level, it's just important that, you know, people remember that we are not a political party, we are a rock and roll band, and that we all reserve the right to disagree with each other and just to disagree with the method as opposed to the principle.
Paul McGuinness, who's managed U2 for all these years, always says the job of the artist is to point out the problem, not to try and go and fix it. I think that's just, our era demanded a different remedy, and the band, you know, left me stay in their band.
But when people say he's an arse, he could easily disappear and just make the music and live his life and do his stuff, but he chose otherwise. Well done him.
Thank you very much.
You use very little of your skills in the band, and you have all this extra ability, and I think that's what you're able to put that energy into.
Well, thank you very much. I think that was a compliment.
Yeah, that was great. I was witness to a bit of a moment there.
Well, it's just I guess Bono's kind of learnt a lot of stuff along the way, and you can see his frustration because he's waiting around for us to kind of get stuff together. And I think, you know, it's great from our point of view that you actually are able to...
Okay, now I know where it's coming from.
And, yeah.
Take your time. I think that's what that meant. We are much more like filmmakers in that sense. You know, you don't ask Steven Spielberg why he's interested in politics, or he set up the Shoah Foundation, or he might have some business interests. Because he's a filmmaker. You ask rock and roll people, because they're not supposed to. Ask yourself then why they're not supposed to. That's a very interesting question. Beautiful you are. You don't know the end. You just don't know, do you? You just don't get it. You just don't get it. Can I have him turned down in my monitors?
I meant that with all great respect.
Who are you competing with now? Are you competing with bands who are coming up? Are you competing with yourselves?
I mean, I think we're always competing with the greats. We're always competing with the Who, Jimi Hendrix, the Beatles.
And that's a very humiliating experience.
You've never had to deal with commercial failures, but is that something that you still fear?
So it's hard to know if we're going to be a success. I do not think it's a given. I think people have 12 albums. Maybe they don't need a 13th. It would have to be very special for people to do that, and we think we've come up with something very special, but unfortunately that is not in our control.
It's the only thing we're any good at. I mean, we're a dysfunctional family, and I guess this is a way of sticking together, is by working together.
Women of the future hold a big revelation. I got a submarine, you got gasoline. I don't want to talk about wars between nations.
To be still in a band, still enjoying being in a band, making music that you believe in at this point in time is kind of unbelievable.
We kind of feel like we're doing it because we have to. There is still something left to prove. You know, I've got some work to do. Yeah.
The thing that sets us apart, I think, might be that at our best, there's joy.